Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. Today is going to be part two of my story time series. This is actually going to be a story that teaches you that not every work environment belongs to you, or you're not really supposed to be a part of
This is
every
Mentor
work
Shelley,
environment.
your dream career coach's YouTube channel. Welcome, guys.
Hey there, guys. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. Guys, this is another story of mine. Of course, the names and persons and locations will be changed to protect the innocent, or in this case, guilty. I wanted to talk to you guys today about a particular, um, in my tenure of working for different organizations since I was 16 years old. I was in a more support, at least I thought I was in a professional setting. I was working in this office where the people that are in charge and the people that are in leadership don't look anything like me, if that gives you a clue. I am, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you know that I am of African Jamaican descent, of course. Jamaican, most likely. I literally go by that, but I've been in the US for quite some time. So, of course, I've been in the US since I was a child. So, this is the culture that I'm more acclimated to. However, I was working in this organization and I met a very good friend, oh boy, she saved me in a lot of situations when all I wanted to do was completely lose it on some of those people. Trust me, guys, developing professional thick skin is not something for the faint of heart, especially being in human resources. You have to listen, hear, and act like you don't hear a lot of things. Anyway, let me get to this story. We're going to call this particular organization Acme Organization, okay? And of course, this is just a fictitious name I'm making up, but as I said, it's the names and dates and the times and the situations have been changed to protect the innocent or guilty. So I was in this organization, and of course, they had rules, specific rules that you could not, because I'm a person where if you have my work, I know what I need to do. You give me my tasks, if anything, and if I need to tune people out to get it done, usually have earbuds in my ear while I'm working. And if I have, of course, I have to make a phone call, that's different, or I have to be on the phone, that's something different. But for the most part, I'm concentrating, I'm on the computer, I'm doing my work, not bothering anybody. But apparently, in this particular organization, the company culture didn't lend itself to anything like that. So, because of that, one of the rules, and that's the first time I've ever worked for an organization where you cannot use earbuds while you're working on the floor. They have a strict rule against that. I think there was some incident that went bad, and from then onward, that was a rule for that particular organization. That should have given me an indication of what type of experience I was going to have going forward. Anyway, so the story behind that is I would come in on Monday, try to get there early. There were some situations where I didn't even have a ride, so I caught a ride even earlier than I needed to be there. I got there to kind of set up my office and things of that nature. Everybody has a cubicle area, and of course, um, I'm there working, trying to work in silence. You're not allowed to have anything playing, so I can't listen to affirmations or listen to audiobooks or listen to podcasts like I normally would. So, working, and then you overhear or can't help but hear because it's so loud conversations like, oh, we got drunk over the weekend and oh, we had such a great time and somebody almost puked all over themselves. This mindless conversation went on for not one, not two, not 3 hours, but 4 hours. And the parties involved, apparently they have a social group outside of the job, and they made it known to everybody that, oh, it's kind of a whole cliquey situation. If you're not part of the cool kids, then you don't get the writing is on the wall. You don't get promoted, you don't get this, you don't get that. And I've never been the type of person to, number one, delve into, nor have to be subjected to office politics, nor office groupie type situations. I'm always about, I'm there to do my job. And if I make a friend or two, that's a bonus, but it's not something that has to happen, because I'm not there to make friends. I am there to do the job, make my money, and go home. During my tenure, I realized this was not just a one-time situation. They were having this type of conversation every week. They had to discuss their drunken stupors in front of all of the employees, loudly, while we were trying to get work done. Of course, I did my ever dear best to focus on what it is I was doing. It was much harder because I could not listen to something else and tune them out completely. Part of that drove me crazy, because you want to get your work done. I was in a not a HR core role, but more in a benefits capacity. So it wasn't like we were interacting with employees all the time. That was not the type of role I was in. A lot of my correspondence with employees would be over the phone or via email. So we weren't having any one-on-one interaction with employees. A lot of it was over the phone, because a lot of it we were providing employer services. This went on, and I realized that the more it went on and the more I tried ignoring it, the worse it got. So, of course, being the action taker that I was, I actually went to our manager, the manager at the time, to address the situation. Needless to say, I probably opened myself up to more ridicule, and probably put a target on myself once I made that complaint. Because what I know then, but I didn't know then, but I know now, that the manager was also part of that wonderful drunken stupor crew. So I found out later on. And of course, it's not appropriate to be discussing that kind of thing on the floor. I mean, people can be lighthearted and have lighthearted conversations. It's one thing, but when you're causing a disturbance, which is quite aggravating to my soul. But at the end of the day, I remained professional. I did my very best to remain professional. But I think because of that complaint, plus some other situations that I brought up to the manager, like getting further training and things of that nature. And from then, I think we were in an adversarial relationship at that point, because I had a manager. Of course, if we take them to the court of law, they would deny it to the death. But this particular manager looked at me, squared up with two other employees in the room, and said, "Training is a privilege." Why they said that to me? Because in numerous meetings, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 or 5 times, they did not have a formal training in their organization to bring people on. And because I come from an environment, I am HR through and through. That is part of who I am. Because if you want people to be empowered to do the job, you have to give them the proper tools. That was my premise. That was my mindset. Unfortunately, I was in an organization that didn't think I was supposed to get the proper training, but people that looked were getting the proper training. So when I asked in front of everybody, I asked more than once. I guess their response to me at the time, because I guess I asked too many times for the proper training to do my job efficiently, the response to me was, training is a privilege. And that is a privilege that we decide who's going to be afforded that privilege. I'm gonna tell y'all, that statement slapped me across my face mentally, because I said, do you realize what you guys are doing? I'm thinking to myself, my HR discrimination and employee law that they're breaking just by making statements like that was ringing in my head, but I said nothing, because If a manager can say that to you, they're looking for ways to get rid of you because they don't want you in a part of their organization. I actually did get terminated a few weeks later after that meeting, and I was not surprised. Why? Because apparently, as an HR professional, you brush with different types of corporations, and that particular corporation was allergic to accountability. And the fact that they were treating some employees but not others, and then when you go to question their motives behind not treating every employee fairly, then actions are taken to try to shut people down. And partly that's what happened with me. And it was one of the best terminations that I experienced, because let me put it to you this way. I learned so much about how never to subject myself to that type of environment. That was a very toxic environment mentally for me. That particular environment drove me to the gym just to relieve stress on a daily basis, because the innuendos, the undertones of being in a corporate space when you look like me, or people that have the same background as me, are in environments that people look like this, and they don't look like you. And there's the prejudicial racial undertones that go with that. And on a lot of levels, they mentally poked at me. I had a very good friend of mine, we're connected to this day, that talked me off the ledge plenty of times, because there was plenty of times I was ready to go tell them about themselves and walk out. But everything happens in life for a purpose and a reason. And the lesson in that particular experience taught me that every work environment and every employer is not for you. That employer is not for me. And it will never be for me, because that particular employer has no qualms about showing you exactly who they are. And I can safely say, based on my experience, that was a very racist organization. That was an organization that had no business. They didn't even empower their HR department. Their HR department was there to do they treated their HR department like an admin assistant. They did not empower the HR department to do their job. And when another HR person was put in place for the time I was there, the HR person found out there was a lot of illegalities happening in that particular company. And before she got pinned with a lot of that stuff, he or she got pinned with a lot of that stuff, they left too. They realized that that's not the environment. Sometimes it's okay to walk away, because if you're truly professional, then there are going to be greater opportunities out there. Sometimes, guys, in this story time, sometimes the environment is just not for you. Let me put it to you this way. That organization helped to push me to start encouraging others to become a better version of themselves professionally, because that definitely taught me lessons about who I am as a professional and who I am as a person. Because, good Lord, that particular place tried my patience, because there's going to be times. Not every corporate situation is great. Not every corporate situation is bad. But that particular corporate situation was absolutely, positively toxic. And I would not wish that on my mother, to ever be in an environment like that. If anything, if you guys are in any kind of situation like that, definitely reach out to me at mentorshelley.com/contact, or leave messages on there, either via voice, or you can leave comments below on this video. Guys, your job or your career path shouldn't stress you out to the point where you're having high blood pressure or you're going through anxiety attacks. If it's getting to that point, leave. If it's getting to that point, there are so many opportunities on the computer, on your phone. There's so many other things that you can be doing. Get another skill, people. There's Udemy. There are courses that I'm going to be coming up with to help you. And there's also this book, newly published, From Clueless Teenager to Consummate Professional. But it's not only for teenagers, guys. Here it is. This particular book can help you change your career path as well. You can go to mentorshelley.com/book to grab that book. It will definitely help you to structure the career that you truly want. Because if you find yourself in any situations like the story I just told, at least start off with this resource. It will definitely help you to get out of the job you're in now that's causing you all kinds of heartache and pain, and be able to help you to get to the career path that you truly want. All right, guys, take care. And of course, leave comments below if you've had any of those experiences, or if you want to share any of your career nightmares, or, great experiences that you definitely want to learn from, or share your story time. You can go to mentorshelley.com/contact, where you can leave me a voicemail message or an email message, and I'll be more than happy to return those voicemails and emails, and also respond to you in the chat as well, in the chat or in the comments below. All right, guys, take care. Please, 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 please. There is always a choice. You can always exit. If it gets to the point where you're losing the very nerve you have left, sometimes it's just best to walk away. All right, guys, take care. You're a good one. Bye.